Someone of knowledge is someone of knowledge. It's someone of knowledge is when someone of knowledge. Someone of knowledge is when someone of knowledge podcast. Ooh. Hey, Salmon Skins, welcome to another episode of Edwin Salmon of Knowledge. Happy Halloween! Now, last week I explained the origins of Halloween. No, not last week. 2 weeks ago. Last week was all about Fungi the dolphin. Now, update for you. Fungi is still missing, presumed lost. I also found out that I was wrong when I said that dolphins live for 40 years and that Fungi had reached his natural end. Dolphins live for about 17 years. So, he probably wasn't the same dolphin. Or he was the oldest dolphin in the world. And his human age would have been like 200, I guess. It's like when I was volunteering in the zoo and I was at the entrance to the zoo. And the first things you see when you come in, apart from, parrots and such, and maybe a few squirrels, if you're lucky, grey squirrels, which were introduced to Ireland, not native to Ireland. They were introduced by some English bollocks who gave them as a present or something. I think that's what it is. Now, I'm not going to research it, but it was some English bastard landowner or whatever. No offense to the English. I have English relations. I'm as big as the bollocks as this lad, except I didn't introduce grey squirrels into Ireland that were so aggressive to the red squirrels that were native to Ireland that they completely obliterated them. And now there are no red squirrels in Ireland. But there's lots of grey squirrels, and they're essentially the same thing, just a different colour. So the first thing you see in the zoo is the tapirs, which are South American, and everyone thinks that they're anteaters or such, but they're not. They kind of look like if an anteater and sort of a tiny elephant had a baby, because I don't think an anteater and an elephant could, make out. They're not going to shift. They're not going to kiss and stuff. If they could procreate, if they could have sex, if they could fuck, I don't think they would manage it, because one is massive and one is small. But I did find out that anteaters are actually related to rhinoceroses, which I never knew. And they're quite unusual creatures. And if you're a fan of Stanley Kubrick, and you've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, his 1968 masterpiece, which was released the same year as one of my favourite films, Planet of the Apes. If you want to check out my review, retrospective review of Planet of the Apes, it's on my Patreon page. Check out Edwin Salmon of Knowledge on Patreon. Join today. Bonus content. There's actually an extra episode up this week, so you can listen to that. It's a very personal episode with lots of litigious things happening on the extra episode on my Patreon. But at the beginning of Stanley Kubrick's 2001, there are early ape man killing and eating tapirs. And it looks to me, unless they got a really good tapir actor, it looks like they actually killed tapirs for the movie. So, like I said, they're South American. So The Dawn of Man is the opening sequence in 2001. So it's probably set in South America. So there you go. But they are they live in the rainforest, and in 2001 they're just hanging around some rocks with some early man in prosthetic makeup. Now, this week I have been mostly on the phone trying to get my dishwasher repaired. Now, we have a lovely small little built-in dishwasher that is an absolute godsend. Like I do remember the old days before dishwashers were invented. God, I sound like an old frontiersman. And the dishwasher wagon had come into town, and a man with a big stovepipe hat and pinstripe pants and braces and glasses, spectacles. So you knew he was smart. And he'd say, roll up, roll up. Ladies and gentlemen, have you been washing your dishes with your hands in soapy, dirty water? Well, no more. With the new Dishwasher Automated Robot Dishwashing Machine, it'll do all the work for you. And it won't get mad and run out the door. So our dishwasher just stopped working. Now, there was an incident a couple of weeks ago where it wouldn't come on for some reason. And I went, oh, God, no, please don't break. Because, you can get it fixed. Maybe you have to get it replaced. Whatever it's going to be, a couple of £100. And I just went, oh God, no. I was going to turn it on before I went to bed, and then it didn't work. So I said, okay, just forget it. Leave it till the morning. And then the next morning I tried again, and it came on. And now there's no actual buttons that you push in. There's no physical buttons that you push in, which I kind of prefer. I prefer a physical button, because then you know if it's working. If the button pushes in, it clicks on the thing, and there you go. But when you have just a kind of a flat black panel with a series of lights, and you just have to kind of touch off it, that's the sort of thing that can, like an LED display or something, that's the sort of thing that can break quite easily. Now, it did work the next day, but then when it stopped working, when it broke, what happened was the lights started to fade. All the lights came on, bar a couple. All your eco washes and your quick washes and your intensive washes. I like an intense wash. All those lights came on, but then started to slowly fade. And I described it to the man on the phone, to the repairman. It's like at the end of the Terminator, when the Terminator's eye is starting to fade because it's dying. And John Connor and Sarah Connor have saved humanity, and Judgment Day is not going to happen. And he was like, just stick to the dishwasher story. I was like, oh yeah, no problem. But yeah, just it all faded. And I thought, shit, dishwasher is broken. So then I figured, okay, this could be a simple fix. This could just be the fuse is gone in the plug. And if that's it, it's just a simple matter of putting in a new 13 amp plug or whatever it is. So we pulled back the kickboard, and I was hoping that the dishwasher wasn't plugged into the very back of the wall, because it would be nearly impossible to get back there to unplug it. Because I'm not a mouse. I can't, I don't have a very, very flexible spine that I could just sort of shift in there. I just couldn't do it. I'd get stuck, and Cara would probably pull my pants down and take pictures of me with just my underwear and post them on the internet, and I'd be a laughing stock. It'd go viral, and it'd be, man tries to unplug dishwasher and gets stuck. Look at his underwear. What a fool. And I'd never be able to go out in public again. But luckily, when we took down the kickboard, the plug was plugged into just a little plug board. So I took it out, plugged it back in, and all the lights flashed briefly, and then it went beep, and then it died again. It just wouldn't come on. So I changed the fuse, plugged it in, same thing, flash, beep, nothing. Plugged in the kettle to the plug board to make sure that the plug board wasn't the issue. It worked perfectly fine. So then I spent probably in total about 4 hours between being on hold and actually talking to people on the phone. Now, I was talking to my dad, Jerry, about this just last night, and he was very, very intrigued. He's one of the few people who would love to hear the full story. So maybe at this point, a lot of people are switching off the podcast, but believe you me, there's a funny bit coming up. It's just, it became a really, really difficult task to get someone to come and do their job, which is repairing dishwashers. So it was a Beko dishwasher built in, and it transpired that because it's 2020, and I'm not one to sort of personify the year as being against me, but it turns out there's a 2-year warranty on it, and the dishwasher was installed 2 years and 1 month ago. So we're just a month out of warranty, and that was disappointing. So I was on hold first time for about 40 minutes. I had it on speaker. I was just busy typing away on my laptop and, looking at old Vin Diesel faked porn pictures. That's what I like to do in my spare time. And I was like, oh, wow, he really is fast and furious. And then the phone went, hello. And I went, oh, hello. And I described everything that was happening, or everything, we cleaned out the filter. There was very little in the filter. I'm a big advocate of rinsing everything before it goes in, and so it doesn't get all clogged up. So everything was in order, and everything was fine. And then I got a number off them of a repairs place, and I tried ringing that number, and it wouldn't work. Well, first off, they said, we can just transfer you. And they transferred me, and this nice English lady, not a bollocks like your man who introduced the grey squirrels into Ireland. She was she was actually kind of overly kind and nice about it. Because at one point she was like, my dishwasher's broken. And she just said, oh, bless your heart. And I was like, what? Bless my heart. She must think I'm some sort of spud munching Irish country fuck with bumpkin. Going, oh man, my dishwasher's broken. I don't know what's wrong. Is it the little robot that lives inside it isn't working anymore? Oh, help me, English woman. Oh, bless your heart, you stupid little Irish fuck. And it turned out that she was like, this is an insurance company. Do you want to insure your dishwasher that's broken? Do you want to do that? Or do you want to get it repaired? I see you probably want to get it repaired, don't you? That's what you're ringing for. And I went, yeah, that's what I wanted. So I hung up. She gave me the number of an actual repair place that Beko uses. And then that number wouldn't work. So I went, oh God, like what am I going to do? So I thought back to when I worked in Woody's DIY. And whenever people had issues with anything, like they'd come in looking for, tubes for their washing machines and parts for their lawnmowers, etc., etc. And we would always refer them to a local repair place called Glasnevin Appliances. And that was our kind of ace in the hole where we'd pull it. Well, try Glasnevin Appliances. I'm sure they'll be able to fix it for you. But if they can't, we don't care because you'll have gone somewhere else and we don't have to deal with your shit anymore. So I rang them, looked them up, rang them. And the guy in Glasnevin Appliances told him what the issue was, Beko dishwasher. So he gave me the number of a man. And he said, this man here, Shane, or whatever his name was, here's his mobile number. Ring him. He used to work for Beko. And I went, oh, great. So I rang this man up, and he bemusedly was like, oh, they gave you my number, did they? All right, yeah. God, I don't know why they do this now. They've done it a couple of times. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, they probably did it because you repair dishwashers, sir. Is that not what you do, sir? And then he just lays this line on me. He goes, what would you do if I told you I lived in Kildare? And in my head, I was like, what? And I thought, what am I supposed to say here? It's a lovely part of the country, sir. And I was like, okay, you live in Kildare. So he said, where are you ringing from? I was like, well, we're in Dublin, in the city centre here. Our address is address redacted. I don't want people to know where I live. But I was like, oh, we're in Dublin. And he was like, yeah, I'm in Kildare. And I kind of thought afterwards I realised, talking to Cara, I was like, oh, he was in Kildare, so he couldn't travel outside of his county because of the level 5 restrictions, but it's his job. So he didn't want to travel and do his job, which he is legally allowed to do, and come here. We'd all wear masks, we'd all be, distant and all that stuff. It's been done. I know people who've had, engineers and repair people to their gaffs. It was just such a weird line. It was almost like, and he gave me the number of a man who does repairs in Dublin, and so I rang him, and he said, explained the whole thing. Said the dishwasher died. The light faded like the eye of the Terminator, and no one seems to get that reference. And I guess they don't expect you to reference the Terminator when you're talking about dishwasher being broken. But hey, that's just where my brain goes, so I'm not going to make excuses. And I'm not going to apologize. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. So I rang this man who was, who basically said, how urgent is it? And I went, well, I mean, it's not life or death. We just have to wash the dishes by hand. So, whenever you can. And he said, just, send me your address and I'll see what I can do. So I texted them the address and haven't heard from him since. So I think I'm going to ring him and just see roughly how much would it cost to get it repaired. Because I don't think it's a major thing. As I said, the dishwasher is only a couple of years old. So it's not like it's 10 years old or something like that. As the fella says, a 10-year-old dishwasher, it owes you nothing. So you're better off just like putting it on a makeshift boat made of twigs and pushing it out to a lake, and then getting an arrow, dipping it in wrapping a towel around it, dipping it in kerosene, lighting it, and then twang, and letting it hit the boat and go like have a Viking funeral for your dishwasher, and then sing a Viking song. But this is 2 years old, so it's a pretty young dishwasher. All the good Hollywood parts are still available. So the whole thing was very much an ordeal. We still haven't got the dishwasher repaired. I had to ring 3 or 4 different people. And when your man said, what would you save if I told you I lived in Kildare? It was almost like I felt for a second like I was being drawn into some sort of conspiracy. I felt like I was in All the President's Men, but instead of being about the Nixon campaign spying on their rivals, it was like about Baco and the dishwasher industry. And this man was going to meet me in an underground car park and hand me a manila envelope with information pertaining to the dishwasher industry that would bring the entire industry to its knees. But no, it didn't happen. So it was kind of disappointing. And we're still washing our dishes by hand the way God intended it. So guys, we're going to take a tiny little break, and we'll be back after these messages. Are you a witch? Do you have a cauldron that's leaky? Is your cat not as black as it should be? Is your broom a little bare? Does it need a restringing? Well, worry no more. Witches.com for all your witching needs. We have the latest in broom technology. Cauldrons with 1,000-year lifetime guarantee. That's if you live for 1,000 years. And most witches do. Special offer now. Buy 2 cauldrons, get a 3rd cauldron free. You can never have too many cauldrons if you're a witch. And we're fully stocked on supplies for your spells. Eyes of newt. Tongue of dog. Ear of cat. A lonely man's toenails. All spells catered for. If you can't find it on our online shop, it's not worth finding. Witchesonline.com for all your witching needs. And we're back from the break, guys. Thank you so much for coming back. We have right now for you, and by we I mean me, an exclusive interview because it's Halloween and some spooky things are going on, some very spooky things. And also some terrifying things are going on because in America very shortly there will be an election and we'll have the results of it next week. I'll probably be talking about it next week, and hopefully I won't be talking about the fact that there is a civil war happening in America. Civil War II, the revenge of the war. So hopefully that won't happen, but sure, look, you never know. But I have managed to procure it sounds like I've gotten some sort of fancy balsamic vinegar. I haven't. I've just gotten an interview with a vampire because it is Halloween and it's a spooky time of year. So I have a vampire who is joining me in my studio, which is actually the office, the spare room, office room. So thank you very much. Yes. Okay. And you're a vampire. And how long have you been a vampire?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I am clearing my throat because I have dry blood in my throat.
Dry blood in your throat?
Yes.
Because you've been feasting on victims?
I feast on many, many victims over the long course of my unnatural life.
Could you call it a life? Or because you're not really alive, technically.
No, technically I am dead. I died a long time ago.
When did you die? Well, you don't call it dying. You call it being turned, right? Is that right? Is that appropriate?
No, I am not a homosexual.
No, I wasn't implying that you were. Although certainly in some of the vampire movies, like Interview with the Vampire, which some people call Interview with a Vampire, there's a lot of homoeroticism in that movie. Have you noticed that?
No, I have not seen that particular film. I am not a fan of Tom Cruise.
You don't like Tom Cruise?
No, I am not a fan of Tom Cruise. I really enjoy Bradley Pitt and Antonio Banderas, who has very, very long and very, very straight hair in that film.
Are you from, where are you from? You sound very kind of non-specific Eastern European.
Yes, it is so long since I was a human man. I cannot remember my past life. It is but a vision, a dream, a cloudy dream, a smoky, cloudy dream, like seeing something in a swimming pool, but the swimming pool is full of milky water.
Not blood.
No, if it was full of blood, I would drink it like a giant milkshake with a huge straw made of woolen.
Made of woolen what?
Just made of wool.
A straw made of wool? I mean, that's the most ineffective straw you could think of.
Yes, but it would get all clumpy with the blood, and then I could eat it like a bloody candy floss.
Like a bloody candy floss?
Like a bloody candy floss at the Vampire Fun Fair.
Right. So you don't know where you're from. You can't really remember.
Yes.
Because it's been so long since you were turned. Like, when exactly were you turned?
I first became a vampire in the year 1987.
1987?
Yes. A long, long time ago.
I mean, it's not that long ago. It's like you're only about as old as the movie The Lost Boys.
What is this movie, Lost Boys?
The Lost Boys is it's a movie that came out in 1987 which is only 33 years ago, so it's not really that long ago. Although the director of it, Joel Schumacher, he died recently.
So he is not a vampire.
No, he was just a regular human man director.
He directed men? He's like a pimp?
No. He directed movies. He directed a couple of Batman movies.
Oh, I like Batman. You know, there was a comic where Batman fought Dracula.
Yeah, I've never read it. So you're a fan of comics?
I like Batman, yes, he is man who does not use weapons. Just like me, I don't use weapons. I use my teeth.
You use your teeth?
I sucked blood through my teeth.
I don't think that's true.
I should know, I'm a vampire.
I think you pierce the skin with your teeth, but then you suck the blood through the piercing that you make with your teeth. Right?
If you say so.
Well, I mean, you're the vampire. You can tell me.
I'm not going to argue with you on your own podcast.
Why are you saying things so dramatically at the end of the sentences? You're only kind of, I mean, you're very much, if you don't mind me saying so, a sort of a stereotypical vampire.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're dressed in a cape. You've got the kind of pointy teeth. You're very sort of pale. You look about 52, maybe a little bit younger. I don't know exactly how old are you.
I am timeless and ageless.
Yeah, and you've been a vampire for only 33 years, so that's not really an age. So you're kind of like, I mean, you're like a sort of a teenager, I guess, trying to dress appropriately, but you haven't found your own kind of groove yet. I mean, you should be dressed in sort of 80s clothes, right?
Yes, it would make more sense to be dressed in 80s clothes, I guess, but I don't know. Is it fashionable?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the 80s have always been kind of, in some way, sort of fashionable. But then, you know, it comes in cycles. So, you know, in that sense, if you are immortal, then there's probably no point in ever changing your clothes, because whatever clothes you're wearing, even if they're not fashionable now, will end up being fashionable, you know, in years to come.
Okay, that is good tip. So you think I don't need to wear high-collared cape with red on the inside to indicate my love of blood?
No, and I mean, I don't know what you've done to your hair. Did you have grey hair when you were turned into a vampire?
Yes, I had grey hair, and some people, they don't believe I am vampire because of my greys. And I try Just for Men. You know this? Just for Men?
The hair dye treatment thing, yeah.
You never use this?
Well, no, I mean, I don't have any hair.
But you have a full bushy beard.
Yeah. But it's, you know, that's the beard on that's facial hair. I don't have, like, hair on top of my head. Well, you know, I do, but it's bald. So I just, you know, I shave it.
You shave your head? You not put black boot polish on your head with a little point at the front to look like a full, beautiful, luxurious head of hair?
No, I don't, because that would look kind of silly.
Are you saying I look silly?
I'm saying you don't look not silly.
What are you saying exactly? Be careful what you say to me, man.
Man, what, like, is that an 80s expression?
I am familiar with the expressions of the time.
Sure you are. No, please don't expose your fangs to me.
You want I suck blood through my teeth of you?
Okay, that's not really a sentence, but I kind of get the gist of what you're trying to say. Just, please. No, wait, hang a second. Garlic, do you want some garlic?
I love garlic. But I cannot eat it because it gives me, death.
So, I mean, I suppose that's the thing about vampires that no one really talks about, is that you are immortal, but you can die. As in, you know, sunlight can affect you.
Yes, sunlight is a killer.
And we're not talking about like long-term skin cancer damage. We're talking about immediate, you know, explode into flames and burn kind of damage.
Yes, it is the only thing that can kill me.
And like a stake to the heart.
Yes, and a stake through the heart that can do it as well.
And holy water.
Yes, enough holy. You can stick my head in a bucket of holy water and it will dissolve like a tooth in a cup of Coca-Cola.
Right. Crucifixes? No, crucifixes do not work. There is no God. Well, that's a bit deep and harsh.
Well, if there was a God, why would there be vampires like me roaming the world, sucking the blood of the innocents?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. So anyway, listen, I hope you have a nice Halloween. Thanks for coming on the show to talk to everyone.
It is great to be on Reviewables.
No, sorry, this is not. Sorry, there must be some mistake. It's not Reviewables. This is Edwin Salmon of Knowledge podcast.
Oh, I thought it was Reviewables. I was waiting for Hannah Elise. She looks like she has very delicious blood inside of her.
Sure, I'm sure she's full of delicious blood, but this is my solo podcast. But Reviewables, I'm glad you listened to it. It's available wherever you get your podcasts every Tuesday, although it's on hiatus now because of the pandemic. Second lockdown.
That is a very organic plug.
Thank you very much.
So you don't want to hear my top 3 witches movies?
That's what you were coming on to review.
Yes, I want to tell you top 3 witches movies.
All right, fair enough. Here we go.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, The Craft.
Oh yes, The Craft. Yeah. That's a pretty good movie. Like it's more of a sort of a teenage angsty movie.
That is why it is at number 3. It takes a long time for the witches to do their witching thing. It is all about, I'm not fitting in this new town. I am an outsider in this new village. When will I fit in with I have connected with these women who can turn out to be witches in the end.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people like that one. That's pretty high up there.
Number 2.
Okay, number 2.
Yes, number 2. Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Yes, this is very good witches. They ride around on brooms. They are evil, but they are happy. They sing songs in modern times, even though they have been dead for 300 years. There are some plot issues with it.
Yeah, I was actually pointing that out in a previous episode. I've seen it. I saw it, rather, for the first time. Very enjoyable, but they're not particularly scary, are they?
No. I like a scary witches. Number 1, The Witch.
Oh yeah. That most recent movie, The Witch, which is kind of set in the kind of early settlers of America. Yeah, it was really good. A good slow build, kind of freaky.
The Goat.
Oh yeah, the goat.
The goat is so terrifying in that movie. I have a natural fear of goats. They are so unpredictable. You don't know what the goat is going to do next. And their eyes look terrifying. And the noise they make. Such terrible music they make, the goats.
Yeah, so you're more terrified by the goat than the witch?
No, I thought the witch was beautiful. The most accurate depiction of witches in the film I've ever seen. Dishonorable mention goes to...
Oh, dishonorable mention?
Yes, dishonorable mention goes to The Witches of Eastwick.
Another 1987 movie.
I seen this movie when it was released in the cinema. And I have to say, the witches are terrible. They are not witches for most of it. They do not realize their powers. And they are far too sexy to be witches.
So, witches can't be sexy?
Not a real witch. If she is a real witch, she is not a sexy witch.
Okay, so that's your dishonorable mention, but your number 1 is The Witch. So yeah, thanks very much.
You are most welcome, Edwin Simon.
Thank you for coming on. I don't think I ever got your name, but it's too late now.
My name is Simon.
Okay, thank you, Simon the Vampire. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, okay. Happy Halloween to everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, so guys, thanks very much. I'm going to leave you with a little improvised song that I did off the top of my head about scary things. So I'm just going to play out with this one. So thanks very much for listening. And I'll see you all next week. Stay safe, stay well, stay warm, stay kind, stay healthy. And bye. Bye.
When it's spooky outside, you see the blood in the night, and there's blood on your tongue, and you've eaten your wife, and the moon is full, and you're probably a werewolf. Yeah, you're probably a werewolf. You should buy extra large clothes for when the moon is high. You don't want to kill people in uncomfortable clothing. Don't buy clothes that fit you. Buy them 2 or 3 sizes too large. Or buy stretchy clothes. It's probably not as terrifying to have a werewolf bearing down on you wearing a tracksuit, but it'll help because they won't immediately run away. They might just think you're a large dog wearing a tracksuit, like how people sometimes put their dogs in clothes that are kind of like human clothes. They treat the dogs like people, but you shouldn't treat a dog like a person. If you're a werewolf and you're wearing clothes like a person, then you're a strange werewolf trying to fit into society when you're absolutely an outcast. You're eating people for fuck's sake. You're never going to be accepted in society. You're always going to have to hide it. You're always going to have to hide the fact that you're a werewolf. When the full moon rises and the bloodlust disguises what you really are, it will be easier being a vampire. And then you can just wear regular clothes and you don't stretch out and become a beast like the Hulk. You're kind of like the Incredible Hulk, except the Incredible Hulk gets angry, and that's when he changes. It's not based on the lunar cycle. He just has gamma radiation accident poisoning, and that makes him a big green angry man. But if you were in a support group, you'd be in a support group with the Incredible Hulk. 'Cause other monsters can't connect with you because you are really a monster. Not in the same way that a Dracula man is a monster. Although you can use the word Dracula because it's copyright infringement. You have to say vampire because of Bram Stoker, who wrote Dracula, who was an Irishman, and his real name, his first name was Abraham. And that's some knowledge that I found out just the other day. That book is scary, but the film is a bit ridiculous. Which film am I talking about? I'm talking about Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's the movie with too many names when Dracula goes out in the day. And that's cray-cray because it doesn't make sense with the mythology set down by Bram Stoker. Boo, boo. Happy Halloween. And see you on the scene. I've got to go. It's a lunchtime. I've got to go and eat my sausages.
Salmon of knowledge, just a 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 salmon of knowledge, salmon of knowledge podcast.